Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom of flowers, lived a little fairy named Gulpari. Her hair always carried the scent of roses, and her wings looked like they were made from rose petals, light, soft, and glowing with gentle light. Gulpari's home was inside a magical rose, where every morning the petals bloomed with new light. She was the most beloved of all, yet her own heart carried a quiet sorrow. They say, when she was little, her mother, the queen of the garden, vanished into a dark spell. Since then, Gulpari continued to spread light and fragrance to others, with an empty heart of her own. Every morning, she woke the flowers, listened to their pain, and gently taught them how to smile. But when she was alone, deep sadness would quietly fill her eyes. One day, as she sat in a quiet corner of the old garden, she noticed a faded, wilted bud. The bud was weeping. It had no color, no fragrance. Gulpari gently touched it and asked, "Why are you so sad?" The bud replied in a soft voice, "I am Heartflower, and the heart I belong to is broken." Gulpari was stunned. She had never thought that flowers could be connected to hearts, and that someone's pain could run so deep. That bud reminded her of her mother. Maybe her mother, too, was lost in the spell of a broken heart. That night, Gulpari made a vow. "I will find all the hearts that are hurting. Maybe by understanding their pain, I can fill my own heart again." With wings glowing with light, she set off on a journey. Her first stop was the Garden of Silence, where everything looked beautiful, but no one spoke a word. There she saw a little girl sitting among the roses, her eyes dull and lifeless. Gulpari went close and said, "I can hear your silence." Tears rolled down the girl's cheeks, and a wilted flower nearby slowly began to bloom. That night, Gulpari sat beside the little girl and started counting stars with her. The girl smiled for the first time and said, "No one ever asked how I was." Gulpari wrapped her wings around her and said, "When someone listens without words, the pain begins to fade." And with that, a kind of magic happened. For the first time, the Garden of Silence began to hum with sound. Leaves caught the rhythm of laughter, and the flowers began to sing in harmony. The next morning, Gulpari saw the girl's heart glowing with light. A new rose, bright and pink, had bloomed at her feet. Its fragrance was different. It carried the sweetness of memory. Gulpari wondered, does every broken heart have flower of its own? Just then, a glowing path appeared before her, as if the garden itself had chosen a new direction for her. That path led her to a land filled with sorrow, to the lake of forgotten dreams. Its waters reflected only those faces who had once become distant from themselves. There, in the rippling water, she saw a faint image. A face wrapped in light, full of motherly love. Her mother, the queen, hidden inside the lake. Gulpari closed her eyes and whispered from her heart, "Mother, if you can hear me, I remember you in every flower." As her tear touched the lake, soft light lit up within the water. And from that light, a voice echoed, "When you embraced the pain of others as your own, you lit up your heart. Gulpari, you are ready now." Magic swept over her. The colors of her wings deepened. Now they held not just fragrance, but radiant light of the soul. The emptiness in her heart was now filled with memories, love, and deep compassion. Gulpari returned to the Garden of Silence. But her eyes no longer held only tears, they held a shining purpose. She used her hands to grow a ring of roses around the little girl. Each rose told a story of someone's sorrow, someone's dream. The girl asked, "Where did these flowers come from?" Gulpari smiled and said, "When the heart speaks, flowers bloom. And when we share love, the light grows. At that very moment, the oldest vine of the garden stirred. Magical rose vine that only bloomed when someone rose above their sorrow. The vine gently wrapped around Gulpari. But this time, it carried not thorns, only shelter. Gulpari spread her wings, and with a pure, radiant light, lit up the entire garden. The garden of silence had become the garden of hearts. The next morning, the whole garden was smiling. The colors and fragrance of the roses reached all the way to the sky. People began arriving from far away, with broken hearts, hidden memories, and trembling smiles. Gulpari listened to every pain, and in every heart, a new flower began to bloom. She was no longer just fairy. She had become the queen of roses. One day, in a quiet corner of the garden, sat a boy. Silent, sad, and afraid of his own shadow. Gulpari went to him, held his hand, and gently asked, "Do you remember your light?" The boy shook his head. "I thought my light was lost." Gulpari smiled and said, "Light never disappears. Sometimes we just need someone else's glow to remind us of our own." That night, Gulpari looked up at the sky. Even the stars seemed to smile at her. Her heart was whole. Not empty, not sad. Just full and glowing with love. That small flower of light that once was, had now bloomed across the whole world. And the story doesn't end here. Gulpari lives in every heart, bringing a little light wherever there is pain. So if ever you feel your light is fading, just close your eyes and remember, somewhere, a rose fairy is waiting for you.